Welcome to this online worship service of the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I'm Reverend Jaye Brooks, a member of our ministry team, along with Reverend Jennifer Brower, the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, and our student minister, Aaliyah Shinbro. Today's service honors the work of the United Nations and especially its initiatives for climate action. Unitarian Universalists have an office at the United Nations so that our faith can engage more closely with the work of the UN. Our special guest today is Bruce Knotts, who is director of the UUA's office at the United Nations. Today we'll also hear from our congregation's two envoys to the United Nations, Janet Bendowitz and Clara LaCorte. We'll also hear from Carol Alexander, who is a member of the UUA's Advisory Committee for the work of the UN. And we'll also hear from members of this congregation who are powerful advocates for the UN's work in support of climate action. We'll have a chance to chat informally with all of these folks during the virtual coffee hour at noon today. The Zoom link is on our website. Choose Calendar from the home page. All year round, this congregation welcomes newcomers, both visitors and newer members, into small group conversations that help each participant understand their own spiritual journey and how it intersects with Unitarian Universalism. For more information, email info@uucsr.org, or next Sunday, jump into the Welcome Space, a Zoom conversation that occurs each Sunday just before the service begins. October is the month when we invite members of this congregation to renew their membership by making a pledge for the coming year. Here's a word from one of our families about their connection to Shelter Rock and why they are members and why they pledge.
When I first stepped foot into the worship room, I knew I was home. Looking out at the trees, listening to the majestic voices of the choir, it didn't take me long to decide I wanted to be part of this congregation. Learning and living the principles, being involved in community and outreach, along with the religious and spiritual growth, has inspired a deeper connection to my community and all the works of UUCSR. Pledging allows many of the vital programs to continue and expand. Pledging is our commitment to be part of a spiritual, religious congregation that reaches out far beyond our own membership. We realize times are hard. Finances might not be the same. But please, pledge as you are able. All pledges are appreciated and will help us to continue to grow and serve the needs of our loving family and community.
Unitarian Universalists commit to a lifelong search for meaning and purpose. This search is one we carry out in ways that deepen our connection to the interdependent web of all existence. This fall, we're exploring together our purpose as a congregation. In these challenging times, what is the most important thing for us to do together? What is our congregation's purpose in this changing world? How does our love and creativity meet the world's deep need? The next purpose conversation is today at 1 p.m. after the virtual coffee hour. To find the Zoom link, go to uucsr.org, choose Calendar, and click on Purpose Conversation. You'll see the Zoom link. We are all longing to be in one another's physical presence again, and yet, despite the physical distancing necessary to protect public health, here at Shelter Rock, we continue to create loving religious community, encourage spiritual growth, and build a more just and joyful world. Let's take a moment now to center ourselves. Breathe deeply and open your spirit to the music and messages that are to come.
This is a congregation that gathers in faith. Not faith in one religion or one God or any one way. We gather in faith at the power of diversity, the power of love, and the hope of a world transformed by our care.
We gather in faith in ourselves and those around us. Not a faith that requires perfection or rightness in one another. Rather a faith that in our shared imperfection, we may learn to stumble and fall together.
Faith that we will help one another to rise and to try again and again.
We are Unitarian Universalists.
Each Sunday, we light the chalice of our religious heritage as a symbol of our commitment to the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
We join with the earth and with each other to bring new life to the land, to restore the waters, to refresh the air.
We are joined with the earth and with each other to renew the forest, to care for the plants, to protect the creatures.
We join with the earth and with each other to celebrate the seas, to rejoice in the sunlight, to sing the songs of stars.
We join with the earth and with each other to recall our destiny, to renew our spirits, to reinvigorate our bodies.
We join with the earth and with each other to create the human community. to promote justice and peace, to remember our children.
We join together as many and diverse expressions of one living mystery for the healing of the earth and the renewal of all life.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice, the sound of one who makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Sister of ice and snow, I'm coming to you from the land of my ancestors, from atolls, sunken volcanoes, undersea descent of sleeping giants.
Sister of ocean and sand, I welcome you to the land of my ancestors, to the land where they sacrificed their lives to make mine possible, to the land of survivors.
I'm coming to you from the land my ancestors chose. Island Kainan, Marshall Islands, a country more sea than land.
I welcome you to Nunat, Greenland, the biggest island on Earth.
With me, I bring these shells that I picked from the shores of Bikini Atoll and Runit Dome.
In my hand I hold these rocks, picked from the shores of Nuuk, the foundation of the land I call my home.
With these shells, I bring with me a story of long ago. Two sisters frozen in time on the island of Buyay. One magically turned to stone. The other who chose that life to be rooted by her sister's side. To this day, the two sisters can be seen by the edge of the reef, a lesson in permanence.
With these rocks I bring A story told countless times, a story about Sesuma Amna, mother of the sea, who lives in a cave at the bottom of the ocean. This is a story about the guardian of the sea. She sees the greed in our hearts, the disrespect in our eyes. Every whale, every stream, every iceberg are her children. When we disrespect them, she gives us what we deserve, a lesson in respect. Do we deserve the melting ice, the hungry polar bears coming to our islands, or the colossal icebergs hitting these waters with rage? From one island to another,
I ask for solutions. From one island to another,
I ask for your problems.
let me show you the tide, coming for us faster than we'd like to admit. Let me show you airports underwater, bulldozed reefs, blasted sands, and plans to build new atolls, forcing land from an ancient rising sea, forcing us to imagine turning ourselves to stone.
Can you see our glaciers grown with the weight of the world's heat? I wait for you, here on the land of my ancestors, heart heavy with a continuous thirst for solutions. As I watch this land change while the world remains silent.
Sister of ice and snow, I come to you now, in grief.
Mourning landscapes that are always forced to change. First, through wars inflicted on us.
Then through nuclear waste dumped in our waters.
On our ice.
And now,
This. Sister of ocean and sand, I offer you these rocks, the foundation of my home. May the same unshakable foundation connect us, make us stronger than these colonizing monsters that still to this day devour our lives. The very same beasts that now decide who should live,
who should die. Sister of ice and snow, I offer you these shells and the story of the two sisters as testament, as declaration that despite what we are told, we will not leave. We will choose stone. We will choose to be rooted to this reef forever. From these islands,
we ask for solutions.
From these islands,
we ask, we demand that the world see beyond
ACs, SUVs, their pre-packaged convenience, their oil-slick dreams.
Beyond the belief that tomorrow will never happen, that this is merely an inconvenient truth.
Let me bring my home to yours.
Let's watch as Miami, New York, Shanghai, Amsterdam, London, Rio de Janeiro, and Osaka try to breathe underwater. You think you have decades before your home falls beneath tides?
We have years, we have months before you sacrifice us again, before you watch from your TV screens and computer screens to see if we will still be breathing while you do nothing.
My sister, I offer you these rocks as a reminder that our lives matter more than their power. That life in all form demands the same respect we all give to money.
That these issues will affect each and every one of us. None of us is immune.
And that each and every one of us has to decide if we will rise.
Every week since the pandemic began, we've taken a special collection to support our local community's most vulnerable people. Recognizing the many ways that climate change will combine with the pandemic to disrupt the lives of the world's most vulnerable people, this week's special collection will support the Unitarian Universalist work at the United Nations. Everyone who donates will receive a mask made of recycled materials as a symbol of their support for climate action. These masks are individually made by Shelter Rock member Catherine Ripley, one of our participants today. It's a gesture of her own commitment to climate action, the work of the United Nations, and the well-being of humankind. To donate through our website, on the home page, choose Donate from the menu bar, then Donate Now, and scroll down to Special Collection. And here's another invitation. If you're ready to renew your membership or make a pledge, or both, go to the congregation's website, choose Pledge from the menu bar, and select an option that works for you.
I want to thank my very good friends at the UU congregation at Shelter Rock for this opportunity to speak to you. We have known about climate change for over 50 years, and we've done nothing as fires consume the West, as coastal areas are being inundated, as other areas face unprecedented droughts. We've waited too long to stop climate change. That clock has run out. To mitigate and adapt, the United Nations has told us that it is vital for us to vastly increase the area of the Earth's surface covered by natural forests. Forests are the lungs of the Earth, and they clean air pollutants. The United Nations says that we must change the way we eat. We need to adopt a more plant-based diet if we are to survive. We Unitarian Universalists have a workable answer. It is the 2011 Statement of Conscience on Ethical Eating, Food and Environmental Justice, and it says, access to an adequate supply of healthy food and clean water is a basic human need and right. Many people do not have adequate food, while others have a surplus. Minimally processed plant-based diets are healthier diets. We encourage a knowledgeable choice of food based on an understanding the demands of feeding a growing world population. The following year, 2012, the UUA General Assembly passed a responsive resolution. Quote, we repudiate the doctrine of discovery as a relic of colonialism, feudalism, and religious, cultural, and racial biases having no place in the modern-day treatment of indigenous peoples. And we call upon the United States to fully implement the standards of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples in the U.S. law and policy without qualifications, unquote. The UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples emphasizes, quote, that Indigenous peoples are equal to all other peoples, while recognizing the right of all peoples to be different, to consider themselves as different, and be respected as such. That all peoples contribute to the diversity and richness of civilizations and cultures, which constitute the common heritage of humankind, and that all doctrines, policies, and practices based on advocating superiority of peoples or individuals on the basis of national origin or racial, religious, ethnic, or cultural differences are racist, scientifically false, legally invalid, morally condemnable, and socially unjust, unquote. Indigenous people can and should be our teachers on sustainable living. In 2020, the Unitarian Universalist Association office at the United Nations, working in collaboration with the Canadian Unitarian Council, hosted our spring seminar on the topic of climate justice, virtually with a focus on Indigenous peoples. In 2021, we will host the seminar again on the topic of climate justice with a focus on food equity. I hope you will join us. We value your partnership and support in our work together for a compassionate and sustainable future. Thank you.
Snow-capped mountains distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to fly. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the voice of hope, it's the voice of peace, it's the voice of every man. From a distance, we all have enough, and no one is in need. There are no guns, no bombs, no disease, no hungry mouths to feed. From a distance, we are instruments, marching in a common band, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They're the songs of every man. God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us from a distance. From a distance, you look like my friend, even though we are at war. From a distance, I just can't comprehend what all the writings for. From a distance, there is harmony, and it echoes through the land. It's the hope of hopes, it's the love of loves, it's the heart of every man. God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us from a distance. Oh, God is watching us, God is watching us, God is watching us, watching us from a distance.
Polar bears are one of my favorite animals. The thought of a warmer Earth destroying the habitat of such cute polar bears is so sickening to me. I can't ever imagine what it would be like for my house to just start melting away one day. The Great Barrier Reef is a beautiful and fascinating feature of our Earth. It's colorful and beautiful. But with warmer seawater temperatures on the rise, it's dying out. I want to grow up and be able to show my children and grandchildren the wonders of nature. There's one thing that is slowly diminishing my ability to do that. That thing is climate change. The library in my town has always been the primary source of my education on the health of our Earth. Every year for Earth Day, members of my community unite and plan a day of educational activities for the youth. I remember one year, when I was about 11 or 12, taking a quiz that measured my carbon footprint. I was thrilled after receiving such a high score because who doesn't want a good grade on a test? But soon after, I was taught what this number really meant. And this high score was definitely not something I was proud of. A person's carbon footprint is how much carbon dioxide and methane gas they give off in their everyday activities. These gases are known as greenhouse gases, and greenhouse gases trap heat into the atmosphere, and it's the leading cause of global warming. Global warming is one of the biggest causes of climate change. Climate change has caused our Earth to become increasingly warmer, which has led to tragic weather and extinct many different species. There are, however, things that you and I can do to change this. There are a number of small steps that each one of us can take every day to reduce our carbon footprints. It's our responsibility as Unitarian Universalists to do this, to better ourselves and the earth. Even the smallest changes that I've made to my daily routine, such as not using the lights in my room during the day, turning off the water when I'm brushing my teeth, eating less meat and more locally grown and sustainable food, and walking places when I can, instead of driving, has made me feel like I am bettering the place that I live in. You too can make these changes and help support the earth just like it supports us.
Dear Matafele Benum, you are a 7-month-old sunrise of gummy smiles. You are bald as an egg and bald as the Buddha. Your thighs that are thunder, shrieks that are lightning, so excited for bananas, hugs, and our morning walks along the lagoon. Dear Matafele Benum, I want to tell you about that lagoon, that lucid, sleepy lagoon lounging against the sunrise. Men say that one day, that lagoon will devour you. They say it will gnaw at the shoreline, chew at the roots of your breadfruit trees, gulp down rows of your seawalls, and crunch through your island's shattered bones. They say you, your daughter, and your granddaughter too, will wander rootless, with only a passport to call home. Dear Matafele Benum, don't cry. Mommy promises you, no one will come and devour you. No greedy whale of a company sharking through political seas, no backwater bullying of businesses with broken morals, no blindfolded bureaucracies gonna push this mother ocean over the edge. No one's drowning, baby. No one's moving. No one's losing their homeland. No one's gonna become a climate change refugee. Or should I say, no one else. To the Carteret Islanders of Papua New Guinea and to the Taro Islanders of Fiji, I take this moment to apologize to you. We are drawing the line here. Because baby, we are going to fight. Your mommy, daddy, boo-boo, dimma, your country, and your president too, we will all fight. And even though there are those hidden behind platinum titles who like to pretend that we don't exist, that the Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Kiribati, Maldives, and Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, and floods of Pakistan, Algeria, and Colombia, and hurricanes, tidal waves, and earthquakes didn't exist, still, there are those who see us. Hands reaching out, fists raising up, banners unfurling, megaphones booming, and we are canoes blocking coal ships. We are the radiance of solar villages. We are the rich, clean soil of the farmer's past. We are petitions blooming from teenage fingertips. We are families biking, recycling, reusing, engineers dreaming, designing, building, artists painting, dancing, writing. We are spreading the word. And there are thousands out on the street, marching with signs, hand in hand, chanting for change now. They're marching for you, baby. They're marching for us. Because we deserve to do more than just survive. We deserve to thrive. Dear Matafele Benum, you are eyes heavy with drowsy weight. So just close those eyes, baby, and sleep in peace. Because we won't let you down. You'll see.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far away.
Do not fear agitation, for agitation is the rhythm of life itself, to be put into motion, to be stirred. Do not fear the moments that decenter what you always thought permanent. You carry within the center of your understanding the compass to show you the way. Carry with you the love that will hold you, the vision that will guide you, the relationships to all beings and the world that will ground you. Go in peace and in gentle agitation to stir this world to the side of love.
No temas a la agitación, puesto que es el ritmo de la vida misma. Ser puesto en movimiento, incitarte. Notemos los movimientos que descentran lo que creas permanente. Llevas dentro el centro de tu entendimiento, la brújula que te muestra el camino. Lleva contigo el amor que sostendrá, la visión que te guiará, las relaciones con todos los seres y el mundo que te pondrán los pies sobre la tierra. Ve en paz y con una suave agitación mueve a este mundo hacia el lado del amor.
As we end this worship service, we extinguish our chalice, but not the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the light of truth. Truth. In the words of Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Tet Gallardo, who serves our congregation in the Philippines, truth manifests itself with its own force. Let us ride on the power of its revelation with a heart ready to receive, ready to forgive, ready to learn. Amen, and blessed be.